Hello, everyone. Today I will present on part 2 with data manipulation. That means today I will present on creating and modifying variables. So this presentation will be available in my GitHub repository at halftime, or you can also get this presentation in the analytics hub in my YouTube. So this, for example, will focus on variable modifying and changing to other formats. So we'll see transmutate and recording variables using if else, and also structure detect, and also regex and percentage and percentage. So these are the descriptions available for you in my GitHub address. So you can mutate is used to transform variables by keeping on columns. Transmutate is usually only new variables. That means it drops other variables. So we are not using this one because it drops other variables. When is used for creating many conditions, or if else is usually for true or false, or two categorical variables, for example, male, female, or urban, rural, something like that. And so we'll see gsub and sub, which is used to replace matches in the pattern within the variable. So see this with the example, and let's move to our R and see the examples together. So in this example, we will see how to close this one. So now let's start step by step. As I noted previously, we'll see mutate, transmutate, recording variables in this presentation. So example for this one, I have a patient data, and I want to categorize year, group, age. I say below 70 and above 70. So this is actually from a date variable. So we see this one. So technically we have example year for this one, 1994, is 70 plus. This is below 70. So we can technically categorize, which is an example of if else and mutate verb for categorical variables. The other one is example. This is just to have an extraction about date data, which is available as, for example, when we see this date data, as you see here, it is available as year, month, day, time zone, and second. There is a separate presentation about time manipulation, but anyways, this one are interested to extract date and vaccination year. So I have extracted, and I can see columns, that means vaccine date and months. So from here we see vaccine date, year, as well as vaccine months. So I have created 3 variables. The other one is this one using a transmutate. So as I mentioned previously, transmutate is it drops all other variables. For example, in patient there are a lot of variables, so it drops all other variables and keeps, for example, from here full name and birth year. That is the new variable. So when we see kid, so we have only 2 variables. That means name and birth year, but it drops all other variables. So for this reason, we usually not use transmutate for variable creation. The other one is using mutate and also case when. So case when is used to create multiple variables. That means multiple categories of or multiple values within a variable. So for example, for this one, for before 1940, I say before 1940, then 1940 to 1959, condition, putting a condition and creating many labels within a variable. So as we see here, our birth year, and we have a lot of many. For example, this one category is 1980 to 1999, is 1960 to 1979. So this is one of the options to categorize variable using mutate and also using case when. So you can use title this one, and also for example this one 1940 to saying between we use 1940 and 1959. So this is an option create categorical variables. The other is also using cut and also breaks. For example, we can say cut birth year and the breaks are 0, 39, 59, 79, 59, and infinity is the last or things after 2020. So for this variable, we say before 1970, 1940, 1959, 1960 or so. Also other, for example, previously we used case when, but can also use cut and break, an optional option to relabel or record a variable. So for example, when we see this one, we have get the same as the previous one. So this is one of the options to record variables. The other is a continuation for categorical variables. For example, we have marital. Originally, a marital variable was symbols M, S, and D. So we want to this one married, single, and divorce. So when I open patient data, so this is, for example, the data as you see here, this one. So now we are labeling using and also using case when verbs. So we see here there are marital and the new group with marital status. So we have M, D is married, D is divorced, and the other is missing. Is we say any missing, we say unknown. So unknown for any missing values. Also use and if use NA, if NA is available, then you can say 46 here. Similarly, for example, previously we use marital equal to S tilde single, but you can also use or. For example, this one is using, can use case when for two categorical variables, or you can use also if else if you are interested. So for previously we use into 4 categories: married, single, divorced, and unknown. But in the one I use partner and not non-partner. For partner, if they are married, then I call partner. They are not married, then saying you are assigned as non-partner. And if it is missing, that means any character, then I say that means it replaces all NA values as all missing values as NA. So this is also the other option. For example, this one we have partner, non-partner, missing, that means NA and partner. So anyways, this is one of the option for categorizing or relabeling the variable for marital status. This is a similar example using mutate and case when race. So I'll get the same group for race group. For example, this one maybe if I use maybe tail, it is just because a lot of whites are dominant. So I change this one to tail. So see if there is something in the bottom. So for example, we have Asian, white. So we classify, for example, race. If it is native, we call it other. But if it is Asian, we call it Asian. If it is white, we call it white. Technically, we make capital letter for Asian and white, but for native and we call other race. The other is using conditional assignment. For example, if you have an empty variable, we can assign NA. So for example, for passport, using NA and also printing how many NAs are. I mean, same number of missing values NA. So see there are 31 missing values here. This one using if else means if it is not missing, I say yes, otherwise I can say no. So this is for passport. If it is not missing, that means exclamation mark NA is not missing. So if it's not missing, then we can say yes, but if it is missing, we can call it no. So this is for example for passport. If they have passport, we can say yes. If they don't have passport, then we call it no. So this is one of the options anyways to relabel the variables using if else condition. The other is using sub. sub is sometimes, for example, in our variables, for example, rather than New York, if we have NWE York, so you can change this one is city. So you can change the city name from New York, New WE to York. So this is actually to, if there is some errors or in our, so you can correct using sub verb. The other is, for example, using gsub. Gsub is sometimes if you have missing value or space, can change that one with underscore or superscore, whatever we like. So for example, for birthplace, I want to change or any spaces in birthplace to use this horizontal line. So if, as you see here, for example, Boston, Manchester, US, then change it to Boston, Manchester, US, and like this. So you have some space within the labels of the variables. You can use gsub, replace any missing or any spaces between values of a variable. Or you can also exclude values of a variable. You can change, or anyways, you can manipulate as you are interested. The other is converse. I think this one is almost similar. The other one is, for example, converting into lowercase. So there are different options. For example, the option is using tolower. So we have a column name. Then from column name, this is the lower, that means the variable. So it will, I'll start here. We see here, it's now changed all lower. But when we see, for example, column names from patient, that means the patient data frame was the original one, patient. So when we see patient, it is capital letter. So all capital letters are changed using tolower. The other is you can use also janitor. So you can use janitor names. For example, here we have names and we have patient names. And when we see this one, it has also have the same function tolower. So we have capital letters, and sometimes if we are interested to change into lowercase, our data manipulation or recording or for using, usually I prefer personally. So you can use janitor clean names or can use tolower verb options for making in lower cases rather than capital cases. So let's remove and clean my space. So this is the presentation for this session, and I will do more advanced versions of data manipulation, especially text is the next video. Thank you for attending this one. Bye.